to colleagues from HIE for that very informative information on this contract opportunity. And it's good these slides will be available. It gives you a really good overview of what's required. So I'm going to do this as if I haven't seen this contract opportunity at all. So I'm going to take you right from the beginning. So because you may have actually come to this via the Supplier Development Programme website and not actually via the PCS. So the first thing I would do if I was looking for this, I would use the buyer name. You don't have to have all of it there. You can just put a part of it in. It's a really good search engine under Public Contract Scotland. And we know this is a current opportunity. There are different types. If you don't know what it is, you can just choose all notices, but we know this one is a current opportunity. I'm not going to bother with any other filters, so just going to search for that. And you can see there is actually 29 pages of contract notices, but we don't have to go far down the list before we see this one, which is the Highlands and Islands Enterprise. And this is the one that we're referring to, which is the Food and Drink Tech Hub. So basically click on the title of that and you'll see here, as we've been advised this morning, that this is being advertised on PCS as well as run on PCS. So the good news is you don't have to worry about being on any other portals. Everything is going to be done here. So this sort of submarine type button is where you record your interest. So you just press record your interest, go to log in. So it says, do you want to record your interest? I say yes. And then you're asked to continue. Now, the good thing about this is that if I go into my suppliers area, I don't have to keep searching for this. It's now in my interest list. So if I go down here, it'll be down here, and I click on there. So anytime I log out of PCS and log back in and want to work on this, I just go to that area. I go to my interest list in the suppliers area, and it's here. So you can see we've got different options up here. We can go to Postbox, we can withdraw our interest, or we can print it out. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is just run through the different tabs on the advert, just so that you know. So, you know, this isn't just useful to you for this particular bid, but also for any other bids. So when you see the summary, what you're looking at is what is it they're asking for, who's published it, when is the deadline, and there's a little bit of an overview here. So you may be thinking already, oh, this is great, this is right up my street, this is one I'm definitely interested in. Or you may actually be thinking, I'm not so sure, I need to know more. So you can see in here we've got the contact details, comes down and tells you again a little bit short introduction about it. Tells you what the estimated value of the contract. Now this is the total value of the contract, it's not an annual value, £524,000, and it's not divided into lots. So this tells me they are looking for, and it's not a framework, so they are looking for one supplier to contract with to deliver this requirement. And gives you the bullet points of what they're asking to do. So bringing food and drink businesses together, supporting the businesses with specialist and technical support and so on. It's going to be from April 22 for an initial period of 3 years with an option to extend for another 12 months, potentially after that. So you can see that they've got the rough values there, 325 to 374 for a 3-year period. So that gives you a good idea what you're aiming for when you're doing your pricing as well. And we've already heard what the criteria are and what the weighting is, and it's 65 on quality, 35 on price. Again, as a business, you will know whether that suits you or not, when you're thinking that that is actually going to benefit your organisation, that weighting in terms of price. Okay, I'm just wondering why there is a different value. There's 524 up there and 524 here, and it's 325. I think that must be to do with the 3-year and the 4-year values. Okay, so what else does it tell you here? It tells you the insurances that you have to have. Now, the good thing is about these insurances, you don't have to have them in place at the time of bidding, but you do have to commit to having them should you be successful and win the contract. Other than that, there aren't any other real requirements in terms of selection criteria. Obviously, we talked about this sort of the usual mass murderer questions. They are in there as well. So we'll come on to that in a second. So this is the time, the 25th of February, as we know. That's when they're going to be opened. Okay, and it just gives you a bit more information about what the scoring requirements are, and what to put in some of the SPD questions if you're not sure. Okay, that's really all on there. And just so you know, this is where you get your documents. So there's a documents tab here. What I tend to do is download all of the documents. And what happens is it opens up in your downloads. I don't know if you probably can't see that. That way you're not, sorry, I've lost you now. That way you're not going to miss any particular document. So you can download, you can download them individually, or you can open them up and have a look. So you can see here, that's what a lot of organisations have done already. So the first thing that they have done is they have downloaded the scope of requirements and guidance notes, and that's been downloaded 44 times. Whereas the other documents haven't been downloaded as much. So obviously some organisations, once they've expressed interest, have thought, let's just have a look at what they're asking for here to decide whether it's something we're able to provide and we want to provide, and whether we want to go forward or not. So then the other tab is the Q&A. You can see there's actually been quite a lot of activity in here already, with 4 questions which have been asked and answered. So if you want to ask a question, this is the tab here, ask a question. I'm going to put one in just so you can see. Can you clarify value, please? Right, so just so that you can see this. So basically, once I submit this, it's submitted now. Guys from HIE, when you get this, just reject it, please. Don't do anything else with it. But I can submit that, confirm it, and you will see that when I go into Q&A now, at the bottom there's a pending questions. So you can see, you can always look in and see what question you've asked and when you've asked it. And the other good thing about the question and answers is that you can download the answers. So if you click that and download it, you end up with an Excel spreadsheet, which is always quite handy, especially if on a tender like this, you'll most likely be working with different people in your organisation. So once you've downloaded the questions and answers, you can circulate it. And often what we do is we will highlight certain things, sometimes even add another column into the spreadsheet to say, what's the implication of this for us? Do we have to change our strategy? Do we need to review the price? All that kind of thing. So that's the Q&A in there. If there's any questions come up that's actually about the bid, you know, and the requirements, then these need to be submitted via PCS as opposed to here today in the chat. Just so that everybody, so that they're written down and they're recorded in PCS, which is all for the purpose of transparency. Okay, and then apart from that, you can see that there have been additional information, and so you do get alerts to these. You get alerts every time a question is posted, well, the answer is posted to a question, and you do get alerts when there's additional information as well. So if you're even vaguely interested but you're not quite sure where you're going to bid, do express interest, and that way you can get all of this information through. So that's just a wee run through the actual tabs in PCS. So let's say, okay, we've read all of the documents and we want to create a response. So what you would do is you go in here and you see all the ones here. You would create a response. Once you've done that, the good thing is that a lot of the information that you've already got in comes through automatically. So just check that is still the correct contact details, etc. for your organisation. This is the Generate SPD. So I don't know if you have already used this functionality in PCS or not, but we've got time, so I will have a look at that in a second. But before I do that, this is where you would go and upload your documents. So we've heard from Camilla what the different documents are. So in this case, it would be your tender response document, any declarations, your pricing schedule. So basically, if it was your tender response documents, type that in there, you choose a file. What it does, it takes you to browsing your different folders. You pick your folder, you pick your file, sorry, and then you add it. So you do have to remember to add. The good news is that it's dead easy to see because you've got down here attached documents. So you can always go in and you'll see them start to appear. Once you upload them, you can see those attached documents appear there. You can always check. One thing that I always take a note of is what documents need to be uploaded, and I tick them off as I put them in, because there's nothing worse than missing something out that then ends up that you're disqualified from the bid. And then once you've got all your documents uploaded, you go down here. I usually just put a little cover note, you know, dear HIE, please find attached our tender. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch and sign it off in there. You might have anything, there might be something particular you want them to take into account, but do remember that anything that you put in here is just a comment. It's not going to be taken into account in any evaluation or anything like that. So if there's anything important that you want to draw their attention to, then either do it through the Q&A or your bid response. Don't put anything really important in this here. Once you have finished it, you dispatch, and you will get an email to say that it's been dispatched. If you are working on this gradually, and most people do, so I'll tend to, if I've got, say, all my declarations done, I'll go in and get them uploaded just to get them out of the way. And that means I can then save and exit and come back to this at another time. So really the last thing to show you is to generate the SPD response. And this takes a little while. It actually takes you to some other place. It looks a bit different. It is a different look and feel from the rest of PCS, this SPD response. So you can see here, it just tells you that you're in the right place. It's Highlands and Islands Enterprise, and you can either, at any time, you can save and exit, or you can just go through. So again, it tells you a little bit about this, and you can see there's an arrow here to take you down, or you can expand the box so you can see everything. You can expand the box down, or you can scroll down. So again, this is just information, just so you know. Then you've got all your company details here. So if you are VAT registered, or you've got a parent company or something, you can type these in. So you can do that. Then if you do have a supplier representative, you can add these in. So you would click create new and add a supplier representative. So that's if somebody else is doing the tender for you, you put their details in there. I do tend to find with this SPD that it is a bit slow sometimes and moving from page to page. So here you can see we're actually getting into the details of the actual SPD itself. So if we go on to here, you'll see these questions. Now, if you're used to completing the SPD with the a Word document, then you will notice that these questions here, I actually really like it when buying organisations use PCS for the SPD. The reason being, it's actually dead easy to make sure that you're answering all the questions and that your answers are good. So if I put am I an SME? Then it'll ask me for the number of employees and the yearly turnover so that they can check that. Am I supported business? Yes. Then they'll ask you for the corresponding information. Okay, so whether you're applying as a consortium or not. Now, the important thing about this is that, especially for something like this, you may actually be applying as part of a consortium or a joint venture. So if you you must remember to make sure that the SPD responses are completed for the other organisations that are involved in the consortium, so you can download it there. They can't be done on PCS itself. You can only do your SPD for you as the lead organisation. If you have other organisations involved, then you'll have to complete the Word version for it there. So in terms of these, the reliance on any other organisations, now really there isn't much in the way of selection criteria. It's not as if you have to have a minimum turnover or the financial health has to be a certain way. So in this case, it's probably going to be no, because the only thing you really have to have is insurance. Are you going to subcontract anything? And if so, again, you will have to download the SPD and get your subcontractors to complete it. And here we go. Here's all what I call the mass murderer questions. So if you answer yes, then you get asked for further information. So the good thing about that is that you always will know whether you've answered it the way that you're expected to answer it. By virtue of other questions popping up. Okay, then it's just all the same, they're just in different sections. So we've got environmental law, social law, labour law, bankruptcy, insolvency, arrangements with creditors, in administration. So you basically have to answer all of these questions. And you know, have you had a contract terminated early because of poor performance? And then once you get to that stage, you can see here that there are no, you don't have to provide evidence of past experience in this area. You don't have to provide financial health or turnover or anything like that. So therefore, you click on next, take it to next. This is the insurance bit here, where they ask you about the insurance requirements. Okay, and then you click next, next. It's just because it's taking you all through these sections on the left. The good thing is you don't always have to do next. You can jump to these different sections using the bar at left if you want to. But sometimes if you don't know what's in them, you're best just to go next. But once you've started to complete it, so here you can see that it's telling me what my summary is, but there'll be some questions that I haven't answered. So I won't be able to submit this until I answer all these questions. So when you get to the bottom of this, you can see all of my unanswered questions. And therefore what I would then have to do is I can save and exit and come back to it later on. And that's what I probably would do here. If you want to, you can export it to Word or Excel. And again, that's good if you're going to share it with other organisations. But in this case, I'm going to save it. And that takes me back to my response. So any point in time, I can go into that. You can see it says, it doesn't say create anymore, it says edit. And that's because I've already started it. So once you've completed that, you've completed all your documents that have been, you know, you have to fill in, that actually form your bids. You've added those, done your covering bit, then you are ready to dispatch. And as I've already said, don't leave that until the day that it's actually due in, just in case there's a problem with your internet, with uploading files, anything like that. Always schedule it in for at least the day before, if not before. The good thing is, like, that you can. So if you are really organised and think, right, I've got this as polished as it needs to be, I'm happy with it, I'm going to submit it, and you do it, say, two or 3 days before, if a day before you suddenly think, oh, hang on a minute, I'm going to sharpen my pencil a bit on the pricing, going to change this or that, you can go in, you can delete files you've uploaded, you can upload your new file, and you can resubmit. So you can resubmit right up till the end. So I think that's it from me. If there are any questions on the actual navigation around and use of PCS, I'm happy to take them now.